Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Get Set Go Beyond Sports with our Magica Asteria warriors. Like you all know, Magica means magic and Asteria is stars in Greek, and hence we say magic stars. When the magic begins and stars descend, that's where all of us come together. All of you who have made your mark as players of sports, but not only on field, also outside of it, also off the ground, is what we really look to bring forward to all of you. Encouragement through sports is something that I have been bringing to all of you via our sports channel, Go Beyond Sports, since 2019. And it is an endeavor, and we hope to carry on for as long as we can. Here we are live again today. I would like to welcome our guest from the field of cricket, who is none other than Monty Panesar. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to run Monty Panesar, a huge big welcome to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for having us as a part of your life chat, where there is so much that you have to share with all of us, your insights, your knowledge. I'm going to give a very small, brief introduction. I'm sure we'll try and make it as dynamic as you are. Monty Panesar, also known as 𝗬𝗰𝗵𝗶 Panesar, or known as Monty Panesar, is an English international cricketer and a very apt finger spinner, and was referred as the best finger spinner in the world by the former English head coach, Duncan Fletcher. He has an amazing work ethic where even his teammates actually admire him for the same. He has served as a bowling advisor for the Australian team when the latter visited India in Jan 2017. He has 167 wickets in just 50 international test matches. He has been the Wisden Cricketer of the Year 2007. He was also the member of the Ashes winning team for 2009 and 10 and 11. So thank you once again. It is such a joy and such an honor to have you. I'm going to begin asking you this one question that we usually begin our show with, is why do sports? And what is it about sports that actually changed you as becoming who you are today?
Yeah, it's. I think when you're a youngster, it's the opportunity of whichever sport you get the opportunity to. So, I was born from Luton, Bedfordshire, and I was obviously extremely lucky that we had a cricket club called Luton Town and Indians, which was predominantly Indian people and run by people from India, and so that kind of gave me a base, being a youngster, thinking that, okay, when I was young, I was sort of kind of a little bit overweight, and my dad sort of said, look, take up cricket, and my dad's best mate, used to 𝗳𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he used to be the coach for the youth setup. So it kind of naturally led into an easy sort of setting where my dad can just drop us off in a safe environment, and there they are, just people of my community from the subcontinent, and we were all playing together. So very much in England, people tend to sort of be with their own community and play sports and do things that they are passionate about, because it's just easier. So many more things are in common. And we had a club called Luton Town and Indians, which was a very easy, natural fitting of me. I'm looking to play sports, and I could just go there and play sports.
So tell me something then, why you chose to play cricket as a youngster? What really kept you going? What aspect of sport was that actually made you want to take it up as a career, or take it up as a level of international cricket?
I think at school I was really good at cross country running. I remember I came fourth in the sort of the group that we had, my school group, and I was really good at running. I was good at football, and then remember badminton. I was quite good, but all of the other sports I didn't really take a hold on, because it's the environment that gets created. So for me, my environment that was created was from cricket, having that Luton Town Cricket Club, having passionate coaches. They had the desire that we want to produce maybe one youngster to play for England. That was their desire and passion. So it's, for when you're going into a certain sport, it's not just easy as saying, oh, I want to be a cricketer or a footballer or whatever. It's also, the environment and the opportunities that surround you, the infrastructure. I remember Matthew Saeed said that, the top 15 tennis table players were living in England, the top 15 British tennis were on the same road, and they played against each other. They got so much better. And that's the same thing here with my cricket. I had Luton Town and Indians as my club, as my hub, as my place where, I can go and naturally progress. So as a 12, 13-year-old, I can play with under 15s. When I'm 15, I can play with men's cricket. And then we had like a third team, second team, first team. So if I was pushing myself, there was the platform there to really excel. That's why, for me, cricket was really easy to go into. I didn't really like going, as a youngster, I didn't like going training. I didn't like it because just hard work, isn't it? Running around, getting fit, it's hard. It's not easy. But I had the opportunity. I had a cricket club there, had a base. If I had a base in any other sport, then maybe I would have gone into that one. So that's how I got into cricket.
So tell me something, like you just mentioned, that it really is not easy, right, to do all the running about, to do the hard work, to actually put in the effort to at least become a pro player. It could be in any sport, like you mentioned. It's not necessarily cricket. What really did you have to do, or what lifestyle changes, or what changes as a child or as a young teen did you have to make within yourself to actually continue waking up every single morning to go out there and hit the deck, or just go out there and practice?
I think when I was a youngster, it was very easy. Like when I was at school, from the age of 16, like I remember, Hita Naik would just come and pick me up after work. School finishes. His children are actually in India, so for him it was like, effectively helping us grow up. Sort of a cricket father figure he was to us. And he used to just love improving our game, and he's so passionate about cricket. He was. So it was really him, to be honest. It was his passion and drive that I want to produce a young cricketer to play for England. Now, if he wasn't there, I don't think I would have had that opportunity of someone throwing balls at me, someone having that desire that I want to create. A young. That was his drive. He had a. Like everyone has a passion or a goal in life. His drive was, I want to produce a young cricketer playing for England, and it was his drive. Then we started to enjoy cricket, and we were enjoying the game and everything, and then things like Then I remember when he took me to the under 12s Bedfordshire trials. And I remember at the age of 10, I watched 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 bowl against England. And I was like, this is who I want to become, like 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧. Everything about him, swinging the ball, it's fast. It's not everyone loves just fast bowling. It's just he was just everything, that I think anyone wanted to be. And so I remember going to the trials at Bedford Modern School, and I bowled, just ran and I used to swing it, everything, and I didn't think I'll get in. I remember we got a letter. Tonight got the letter. He goes, all you guys have got in, like 4 or 5 of us in the under 12s. And that's when we started to take it a bit more seriously, because we started to get more opportunities, to play for age group cricket. So we played counties against counties. So we play against like Surrey under 12s, Essex under 15s. And, that was the big ones, when we play against the first class counties. We're a minor county, Bedfordshire, and see what they were like.
So at what point in time, so at what point in time did you actually, were you able to see yourself as the cricketer that he saw in you?
I think it was when I went to Sandy Upper College for a under 15s training session with Bedfordshire, and there was Paul Taylor, and he said to me, you're not really bowling that quick. Maybe, you got really long fingers. Maybe try and see if you can, spin the ball. So I spun it, and it was turning around corners. I pitched it on middle, and it was spinning and bouncing. I was like, wow, I can't believe I can do this. And it was on a length, because I used to be very accurate, and I was so accurate then. And he goes, next game, bowl spin. So then I spoke to Hiddu, and he goes, yeah, try next game, just bowl spin. And then I remember the game against Worcester under 15s. My parents took me there. And it was at Royal Grammar School, I remember the school as well. And I took 7 for 35 in the match, and we won the game. So, a minor county team beating a first class team, age group cricket, it's quite a big thing.
Yes.
And then after that, we just said, right, just stick to spin now. We're not going to bowl fast now. We're going to just bowl spin.
Right.
And that was it. That's when the sort of turnaround of that 𝗂𝗎𝗃𝗃 dream was over. It was more 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗍, because there was an MCC book forward by Tony Lewis, 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍. It's got these 60 images of his action, and that's all I did. So again, when you look at opportunity, you look at, how was your action made? How was, everything is created. There's information, there's certain books, coaches. There's a lot of pieces that come together, for you to develop and become better. And if that wasn't there, that pictures of his action in 60 frames, 60 pictures, you can actually just mold each action, and you can teach yourself how to bowl left arm spin. I don't think I would have had that smooth action, and that was like my coaching template. Every time I used to always refer back to that 60 images in the book.
So how important do you think, really, like the way you just mentioned, how important is it for a budding cricketer or a budding sports person to actually have this kind of a sounding board that you can keep going back to keep continuing to get inspired from, to continue to keep practicing? And again, it is not easy as a teen, because you're so distracted with so much that's going on in life while you're growing up. It's not easy to kind of continue your passion every single morning, to wake up to cricket and to sleep to cricket. So how did you do this, and what would you advise the youngsters?
Okay, so I was then, my next stage was my coach. He was the director of cricket at Luton Town in Indians, was 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗧𝗬. So he's not with us anymore. He passed away a couple of years ago. So rest in peace. And he was my coach, my mentor. So after Hiddu, he kind of knew the natural progression was maybe he should speak to Deepak now, and he asked me a simple question: what's the equation of life? And I said, if we have to put down physical and mental, I'll say, 90% physical, 10% mental. He goes, no, he goes, that's where you're getting it wrong. That's why you're not progressing. He goes, you practice hours and hours and hours, but you don't work on your mental strength. It's 90-10, where you do 90% mental work, but 10% is your practice. So he said, you have 60 balls. That's all you're going to bowl a day. And I want you to know how many of them balls go into the area that you hit. And that's it. So he goes, it was the quality of training, but the mental preparation. He was, let's say, my mentor coach or my life coach, who guided me. And then we really accelerated, mentally and understanding these things, and then getting to the England level. With that progress happened very quickly. In 2-3 years, I was in the England team. but we worked so close together. You know, we were like, he said to me, please only come to me with an empty vessel. I don't want you to have any of your knowledge. Whatever I tell you, you must agree, because we will get there a lot quicker. If I have to sit with you and then disagree with you and then go through it all, he goes, it's going to take too long then. And he goes, you know, just agree with me. You have to trust the process. So that was for me at that time, you know, if you're a youngster, that's probably the best thing. If you haven't played Test cricket, if you want to get there very quickly, just listen to your coach and keep progressing and keep developing. For me, that worked. And so it got me to the England team, you know, by having that sort of mindset.
So you're hailed as one of the greatest finger spinners, and you just mentioned to us how you made that switch from, you know, fast bowling as a dream to spinning. And I guess that's kind of something that happens to so many youngsters when they are still training for this sport, right? Like we have people in badminton where they start off as a doubles player, and then the coach might see your potential and say, here you're more apt to be a singles. Like, and then in the same breath, when you mention that you have to listen to your coach. So as a player and as a young teen, how to make that mental switch between, say, when your own dream was to be a fast pacer, and then you are told, you know, that based on your capability or based on what we see as you in potential, it's not fast, probably spin. But as a human and as a young teen, what's the kind of dialogue that goes on within you, and how do you make that mental switch within yourself?
Well, for me, it was easy because I had the confirmation. The next game, I took 7 for 35. So that was my big tick. It's like, you know, it's like a teacher saying to you, you know, try this technique in the exam and then you get an A. So it's like at that age, I used to take 2 or 3 wickets. Suddenly I'm taking 7 for 35. I'm like, wow, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to stick with it. And then I played minor counties, you know, as a spinner. So things happened very quickly when I was a spin bowler. I was taking wickets and it was easy for me, you know, because the contrast of performances were much higher with the spinner than the seam bowler. So that's why I kept on going, you know, as a spinner. And then I played under 19s England cricket. I remember touring India. 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗧𝗏 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗏 was in that team, for the Indian team. Patrick Patel was in that team as well. So it was nice to see some of the, you know, players from that team. You know, them two were probably notably the ones who were the most successful ones who played, you know, international cricket. And I remember playing against 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏. You know, so it was the under 19 days, and then we're together, sort of playing against each other. I think that's a great thing about cricket. You know, you're playing against opposite, but you know, for your nation. So it was a nice moment for us.
So it's going to be a very cliched question, I know this, but your very first test wicket was that of Sachin Tendulkar. So take us through that. Like, what was it that you were going through? What was the feeling? And what was that moment like?
A special moment. Like, I remember actually Andrew Flintoff the night before said Monty Panesar when he named the last player, and I thought, oh, I must be 12th man for this match. You know, I never thought I would be playing any of the test matches in India. I thought it was just a great experience, have a feel of international cricket, just see what this is all about. And you know, I had a new two-year contract at Northants. But he backed me. He backed my attitude, my hard work, my ethic, and he liked that. He liked that a lot. So I remember he gave me my cap, and then I bowled. And I remember actually Darren Lehman said to me when I went to Darren Lehman Cricket Academy, which was, you know, in Adelaide in 2005 in that winter. He goes, in India you got to bowl slightly fuller. Always remember that. You know, he's slightly fuller. And when I bowled that ball, and his pads are really wide as well, like dismissively wide. You don't understand how wide his pads are. And his pads are wide. I can't see the wickets or anything. I'm thinking, natural instinct is appeal. you know. So I appealed, and Alimdar gave it out, you know, and that was it. I never celebrated a wicket as well like that. I never. Everything was, you know, like it is, you know, like your first exam result or your first experience where you know, do amazing at school, or you have amazing performances. They always stick in your memory. And this was my first Test wicket, and it hit the pad, LBW. I didn't realize it was Sachin at the time. I just ran, and then I realized as I'm running, I was celebrating with my first Test wicket. It's actually Sachin who I've got, and I couldn't stop running. And there's a thing when I grew up around my friends, you know, that said, when you enjoy life, enjoy it to the max, because people don't tend to do that. You know, they hold themselves, you know. And I was very much around my friends who were like my, you know, temple friends. You know, we used to have, like, you know, I used to go to Coventry Temple, and my group of friends, we used to always encourage each other to max life, live to the fullest, you know. Any enjoyment you have, enjoy it to the fullest. If you're going to celebrate to the fullest, everything. And because then it strives you to, you know, really enjoy life. And that was that moment, such as my first Test wicket, but also celebration of life, enjoying that moment, and not holding back my celebration. But it was a reflection on Sachin Tendulkar. It was actually his greatness, you know, because he was such a great cricketer, because of who he was as a sportsman. I was celebrating that, you know. It was that celebration, you know, that, wow, I've dismissed him first, but because of his greatness, I can't stop celebrating because he's so great. It's an indirect celebration, really, but it's celebrating his greatness as a cricketer.
Right. And so tell me one thing, that there's this other one innings that really comes to mind, is about the Cardiff Tests of the Ashes 2009, where you drew the Test match along with Jimmy Anderson. You never were regarded as a handy batsman, but the resilience that you actually showed in that particular match was just something that was really commendable. So can you take us through that innings of yours, and what's that message that you would give these young cricketers or the viewers, that what it really takes to be mentally tough, and what is it for you out there as the batsman that you were then?
People, for example, you know, mental toughness is, let's say if you're doing fitness, or if you're going for a run, and you know, I tell you to do a 5K run in, let's say, 25 minutes, but you're doing it in 30, you've got to then work a plan of how am I going to get to 25 minutes, do the sessions, and then go through that pain, you know, so if today's session, the target is 29 minutes, and you're like, I can't get to 29, it's going to be 29, 30 seconds, but you got to get to there close as possible. You got to, that deep inside, when it's really tough and it's hard. That's why when you do fitness is a sign of your mental toughness, of how far can you push yourself. That's a realistic push as well. You don't want to push yourself to a point of, you know, madness, and you're actually injure yourself afterwards. You know, that's why you have a fitness coach, or you have, you know, a batting coach, or you have a life coach who know how far they can push you, not to breaking point, but just stretch you 5% more than yesterday, then a little bit more, and then hopefully, you know, you're touching your knees, and then you end up touching your toes. You know, if you start from session 1 to touch your knee, then you want the next session to touch your toes, you're going to snap your hamstring. So it's these life coaches, or the teachers that we have in our life, that are valuable to us, because they know how to stretch you, and then when to hold back, how to push you more, hold back. And I was lucky, I had 𝗳𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗲 there with me. And then when it came to, you know, you talk about mental toughness, that's the thing that youngsters can take. They'll have their coaches and their teachers, but it's a responsibility of the coach and the teacher to see them progress little by little, you know, and test their mental aptitude and how mentally tough they are. Fitness is one. Another thing is, when you're training, You know, when you hit a ball, run 2, hit a ball, run 3, hit a ball, run 4, get point of exhaustion. They get really exhausted, and then see how mentally tough you are to hold that shape, to hold that position. Can I hit that 6 out of the ground? Then get your resting rate back to normal again and be completely physically, have your 2 minutes rest, then do the same exercise, and you watch how you whack that ball out of the ground. You watch how you get into great positions, because you were practicing getting into positions when you are completely exhausted. And when you're exhausted, you have to tap in within, because physically you're tired now. Now you've got to tap in mentally, how tough, I've got to fight this tiredness and get into good positions. And that's, you know, that's another exercise for mental toughness. And then afterwards, you know, you see the difference. You'll be like, wow, I've got the energy and how good I'm connecting. So there's so many different ways of doing it. But that's what I mean by mental toughness. You know, that's when people say, what is mental toughness? Another mental toughness is, I don't know, if you say to yourself, I want to get up, I want to, you know, be in the gym every morning. And it's while you've done it 5 days, then the 6th day, you're like, I'm really tired and I don't want to get up, and it's raining outside. You got to mentally motivate yourself. No one's watching you. It's up to you to say, right, get up, come on, get your gym gear on. It's raining outside. Just get out there, get to the gym. And these are all little traits of how badly you want your goal, how badly you want to succeed. And this is your journey, you know. It's not all, you know, roses, you know. It's not all being the heroic stuff. There's a lot of, you know, the iceberg model, we say. A lot of the hidden stuff, that is the 90%. That is the 90% that Dave talked about. It's that 10% which everyone sees at the end, but it's the hard work that no one sees. You've got to do, you know, and the question you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want it? And then you got to go through the process, you know, go through the graft of the pain.
So I'm going to ask you this question, that when we talk about being mentally tough, and we're talking about training to be mentally tough and in game, but how do you kind of then convert that at a game situation? When you're out there on the field, you really do not, like you said, you don't have anybody there around you except for yourself and your own internal mental dialogue. So what is that crucial mental dialogue at those really important times in a match where, let's say, you know, it's the last over that the team is depending on you to bowl? Or say it's the catch that really is going to be so important, and when you're standing under trying to take that catch, knowing that this is really important for you, what is that? Yes, probably at an international level, it is something that you have already gone through the innumerable times of making mistakes and learning from them. But as a young guy, as a young individual who, you know, probably has to make or break and prove himself within that one match, what's the kind of pressure that they're going through, and how do they deal with that?
Yeah, the thing with that is, that's why we have processes or triggers, or we have little cues, you know, that gets you to focus on that, get your energy, your intention to focus on the processes, make them slightly more important than the context of the game, the match situation. And it's also to do with the individual player, right? Certain players, they love the energy, they love the intention, they love it when I'm the center man, pressure is all on me, and you know what, I'm the one who's whacking the sixes, or I'm whacking the boundaries, and I'm loving the energy, I'm loving it. And it's a psyche. You got to work out what works for me. Do I love it when I go out there and just whack the ball out of the ground, and I'm loving the energy, I'm loving, you know, everything about that? You know, that's an individual basis. I think what worked for me was I would have a process in place. So I'd say I'll start off with my right foot. So like, I remember when I bowled to the great team then 2006, I didn't focus. It was, you know what it was? It was like, I want the respect from the Indian batsmen and the team that I'm actually a good cricketer too. So I focused more on my process to deliver quality deliveries to them, but not thinking that I want to get them out, if you know what I mean. But naturally, cricket is like that. If you keep bowling quality deliveries, you will get them out. right? And that comes all the way back through your process. So the process is start off with my right foot. When I get to the crease, stay tight, stay within the train tracks, the train lines, and then get over the crease. That's it. Now, that is all my focus when I'm in the zone. So people talk about what is it like being in the zone. There is this point where you enter the field, you get a ball in your hand, and ball gets thrown to me. And the coaches who observe you say, Monty, you are at your most relaxed when someone chucks a cricket ball at you. So that's when you're at your best. Like if you ever want to be relaxed, hold a cricket ball all day, you'll be relaxed because that's where you're so naturally, it feels so natural. So they throw a cricket ball to me, I'm now in my zone. Once the cricket ball's thrown to me, right, I'm tapping into that zone. I'm focusing everything on my processes now. What's my process, my run up, everything that I mark up now, I'm just zoned into that. I'm not worried about the game or anything. And I'm thinking, right, quality deliveries. Start off with the right foot, get through the train tracks, get over the foot, bang, first ball good. Right, assess the pitch conditions, go again. And then you keep repeating it. Now that is another sign of mental toughness that I'm going to keep delivering. I'm going to commit to my process. I'm not going to get away from it. I have faith that my process will get me through, when it gets tough, when sixes get hit everywhere, when you're feeling under pressure, anxiety kicks in. You have to slow things down and you have to go back to your process. You think, okay, forget about that. Let's get back to my process. Start off with my right foot. Let me take a nice deep breath, clear my mind. Right, put a line through that ball. Let's focus on the next one. Right, what do I do here? Okay, I'll ball a bit slower. And, this is what I'm going to do. You go back to your process. And that is when you're in the zone, then you have to, every cricketer has their processes, their triggers. And the reason we have that is something we can refer back to when things get tough. When things are, or when we want to, just, focus on the next ball, not get too emotionally invested or, oh, how great that shot was, or oh, how good that delivery was. Right, forget about that. Get back on it. Mentally, how tough am I to keep bowling great deliveries? So these are the things that the coaches, whoever are listening in, this is the kind of stuff they should monitor. How can I get my cricketer, they've played a really good delivery, right? How do I get him to now, okay, put a line through that and then focus on the next one, bang. It's like breathing. I've taken one breath. Okay, the next breath, the next breath, the next breath, and it becomes a flow. And then it's just a flow. Then it's nothing like, it's effortless. Then, when they say, oh, they make it easy, it's because for them, this is what they do. I just go out to bat 6, 4, 6, 2, 6, 4, 6, 2. And it just becomes like how I'm breathing, or how I'm walking. You get to that state where it's just easy and you're not, no excitement, no emotional investment. It's just, I don't get excited when I breathe. I don't get excited when I walk. It's what I do. And you get to that place. You want to get to that place as a cricketer. And I remember Alistair Cook used to always get into that zone. And then he would bat all day and that's it, And then, and that's what I mean when you get in the zone. When people say, what is it getting in the zone? Getting in the zone is just in the present moment, keep repeating the same things that you've been taught. And that's it. And then you get 100 and think, how did I get it? Because ball pitch short, I pull. Ball was full, I drive. Ball was wide, I cut. I just keep repeating that. And then that's it. That's what it is, getting in the zone.
So, we've spoken a lot and we've touched upon this topic of mental toughness and mental health in cricket, in sports. Tell me something that even in sports, there is a lot of depression, there is a lot of mental health, and you've been speaking a lot about it as well. Can you talk a little bit more about this aspect of mental health and depression and anxiety, and especially when you are at this international level where you are kind of, where is the whole world watching you, where there is so much pressure on you to perform? How does that really affect you? And does it really kind of get into your psyche? Does the name get into your psyche? The fame, the pressure, the adulation, all of these things. And then how does it work on every single sports person? There are a few of them who kind of flourish with this. Like you said, there are some who come and they will take center stage and they know this is it for me, right? This is my track and this is my field and I'm here, this is me. Give me the pressure and I'll play and I'll perform. And yet there are so many who really buckle under the pressure because they just cannot seem to handle it. And then that leads to this kind of a spiral which will lead them down, take them down depression. And then it's kind of very difficult to sort of walk that path, maintain your mental toughness to be able to overcome it. Talk us through this. How did you do this, and what's your experience with all of this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Like, the thing is, it's like it's part of my psyche. So for me, when I took my first Test wicket, my psyche, my circuits and my sort of subconscious, it believes that when there's crowd cheering, when there's attention, when everyone's watching, that's who Monty Panesar is. That's what the brain registers. So what happens, you get addicted to that. You kind of think, if I'm not getting the attention, no one's noticing me, then the mind thinks, oh, it's not registering Monty Panesar, because Monty Panesar is the person who everyone, watches, that kind of stuff. So these experiences you have in life where you have these highest experiences as a sportsman where everyone's applauding you and you walk down the street, everyone notices your name, you're getting a lot of attention, there's a lot of interviews, you're like a famous name. The mind starts believing that's your reality. So then you get a lot of, serotonin from it. You're feeling that that's my normality. This is who I am as the person. Then let's say that stops happening. Then the mind starts thinking, hang on a minute, where I'm going to get the serotonin from? Because where's the attention? I'm going outside, no one's not watching me. Where's the 20,000 fans? Where's the interviews? Now, what's going on? The brain's confused now. It feels lost. It's like, and then it goes, I can't kick in the serotonin. What's going on? And then what happens? You start dropping. You start getting down. You get low. Your mood goes. You're like, oh, the brain's looking for that. It's searching, like they say, a dog searches for its owner. That's the owner for us. That's the mind wants that. Wants to be in a test match, 20,000 people, ball being thrown at me, cheering the name, and yeah. Brain's like, yeah, we're back at home now. We're back where we belong. This is home for us. And when that stops happening, that's how people get depressed. A lot of sports people do. Like even the likes of Usain Bolt, when he's retired, he found it very difficult. He's like, wow, life's different. No one's applauding me or this or that. So your brain then reprograms through that. It begins to learn that reality is, different now. And then you have to, understand your psyche, what your mind has been, how you've programmed your mind through your experiences. That's what the reality is. Now it could be slightly different. And we have an intelligence in our mind. So we've got to say, right, now my psyche is different. So I've got to accept the reality of me is this now. And then the mind starts believing that. And that comes through your habits then. So, that's why when you're depressed, you don't want to go into a point of gambling or drinking or that, because then the psyche starts going to believe, oh, right, okay, we need a drink now, because then that's going to make my mood great again. And suddenly you become alcoholic, you're put on overweight, or you addictive behaviors, because you want that rush of taking a wicket or, scoring them runs, that same buzz. That's why, when you drink alcohol, it gives you that high rush. Or gambling, it's on 15 to 1, 50 to 1, put £100 on it. And I'm like, wow, I've just made, $5,000 or whatever 50 to 1 is, 50 grand, I think. And it gives you that rush. So it's that rush we need in our body to that addictive feeling that a sportsman gets when he's successful. So he needs to find ways of getting that, through exercise, through other ways, through whatever it is. So you just reinvent yourself. And that's why you need your goal coaches, your people around you to say, right, this is who you are. Well, what do you want to be now? How do you want to reinvent yourself? Where do you want to see yourself? What do you want to become? And then they help you towards that. And you have to have that honest conversation with you, because when you're playing cricket, it was a passion. It was something I loved doing. I loved, playing big shots, playing this great cricketer. Now I'm into another career, and this is how my psyche is. This is who I am. So, the great people in life, the likes of, like, right now, one of my good mates, actually one of my best mates, Andrew Flintoff, people don't say to him, oh, I remember you 2005, your Ashes. They'll say, oh, mate, that Top Gear show was amazing last week. Or, we're loving your new show that's coming out. So when people have that sort of conversation with you, you naturally feel that you feel happy, because it means that you're successful. People are speaking to you in time, what's happening right now. They're not thinking about you and saying to you, oh yeah, I remember 10 years ago, that performance was great. Then it shows that you actually are not successful in time right now. You want to forget what happened in Cardiff. People want to say, wow, Monty, what a great comeback in cricket, in 2021, or what a great, you're a great media broadcaster or a great TV personality. So that's then that the psyche starts, feeling positive, that indeed people are talking me in time where I am now, not 5 or 6 years ago.
So while we're talking about being in time now, are we going to see you as the mayor of London? Because you seem to have some kind of...
Well, I kind of did say that, maybe become a mayor of London, but that's a 4 or 5 year project. I think at the moment I'm doing a master's in international sports broadcasting. So hopefully that's the investment I'm putting in to become, in my media career, media, TV broadcasting, become this sort of TV personality as well, use my personality to get on TV. And then, in the meantime, there's a thing, on the back of the shoulder, keeps sort of bugging me once in a while when I do a few gym sessions, get a bit fit. Like, Monty, get a cricket ball in your hand, maybe next year, to see if you can make a comeback. And I don't know, who knows, man? Like, I think future ambitions could be, can a 39-year-old cricketer make a comeback in the professional game? Maybe short-term goal. Longer-term goal is media, presenting, media broadcasting, something on TV. That's why I'm doing this master's right now. So that's where I'm sort of heading in that direction now.
So tell me something, that you've also recently completed your autobiography. And what's the book all about? We would love to know. And what's been your experience with the book?
I think with the book, it was just an honest account of, like, okay, this is where I've been, this is the goals that were happening in my life. And then the things that, weren't so great. And I think it was just more of an honest account. So then people who read it, they'll think, actually, as I'm reading this, maybe it's helping me in some way. Maybe I need to be a bit more honest to myself. Or when Monty went through slightly a tougher time, how did he get through it? I'm a big advocate of, medication is good for short term, may have a little bit of a chemical imbalance. That's great. But in the long term, holistic approaches, so like the likes of things of, like, yoga's brilliant. You have 1,000 thoughts. You kind of think, wow, I don't even know, like, which one is real out of all of these thoughts. And then you do an hour of your yoga, suddenly it's like, why all of these thoughts have gone away? And so that's a holistic way. That's a very holistic approach to, clear your mind and be in a good mental state. So I'm a big believer of that. I believe exercise is great, because through exercise you have so many different conversations, emotional conversations, mental conversations. When you push yourself, you're clearing stuff. And sometimes it is painful, but you've got to put the effort to clear all of that. So I think that's good. Conversation, if you ever, if someone ever says to you, like, am I mentally in a great place? I ask them a simpler question. Do you have 5 people? Do you have 5 people that you can ring up right now and have a conversation that could be slightly difficult? That could be like, you know what, I don't feel great. Mentally, I don't feel great. Or mentally, I feel really great. Do you have 5 people you can share your successes with, and also things which are, close to your heart? And if the answer is no, I would say then actually you are not mentally in a great place, because to life and well-being, one of the great things is family and friendship. You need to have at least 5 people that you can speak to. That shows you've got healthy relationships with your friends and with your family. And that's another way of getting off that medication. Talking is a brilliant way, you know. So, you know, if you talk to the same 2 people, but then you don't talk that means you need to work on your relationships and have at least 5 people, you know, that you can just ring up, have a chat and talk. It's very, very important, I believe.
There's a question here from someone who says that there are times when we make friends with rivals. I'd love to know who were your good friends from the other teams.
I'll be honest, I've always had a soft spot for Harbhajan Singh because he's got a patka, he's a spin bowler, just a commonality of it. And, you know, he used to take 3 or 4 wickets. He'll destroy the team. He'll take like 7, 8. He was greedy. He was like, just, you know, want to take lots of wickets. And I quite like, you know, how he was good in T20 and one days and all that. And I like, you know, he's a really good person. You know, he's a good guy. He's like, if I have to ask him an honest question, I know he'll give me a good, honest feedback. He's a really good person like that, you know. And sometimes you need that, you know. I've got some great friends in the English team, but you know, it's great to have friends in other teams in different countries where you can actually have, you know, really honest, good conversations. And if I have to, you know, ever ask a question that I don't know the answer to, I know I can always speak to Harbhajan and say, look, man, this is on my mind. What do you think? And I know, you know, he would give me a really good, honest feedback. And he's a good guy. You know, really good guy. Like I knew 𝗳𝗲𝗀 Khan quite well at Worcester before he played, you know, thingy. So always, you know, he's a lovely person. 𝗳𝗲𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗶 𝗧𝗲𝗂𝗏, you know, I can't stop watching his Instagram stories. This new 𝗳𝗲𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a great invention. It's like a talented, you know, thingy. And also Yuvraj Singh, you know, like I'm quite sort of, you know, good friends with his father and also Yuvraj. You know, like really sort of, you know, just big achievers. You know, these are, I remember seeing his Netflix thing where he said, you know, Sachin Tendulkar was like the Michael Jordan and all the others, you know, Virender Sehwag. And I can see that fitting, you know, in that history of Indian cricket, how great that Indian cricket team was. They were like, you know, probably in that bracket of the Chicago Bulls. So yeah, it's just nice to have, you know, people from the other side and other countries as well. It's not just, you know, one country. I like to sort of have friends from countries that I've played against because they were part of my life when I played with them. So it's nice to keep in touch because that was part of me. You know, I toured there, I played against them. So it's you naturally, I think it's healthy to stay in touch with people who've been part of your life.
So tell me something then, are we going to see more of you here in India? And coming from the fact that you've been hailed as one of the, you know, greatest finger spinners, would you be taking up coaching? Would you be taking up some way in kind of teaching the kids back, or sort of what's on your mind now? How would you kind of contribute to, you know, making more of finger spinners around the world?
Yeah, look, if there's opportunity in India to do coaching, I would love to, you know, come to India and do some coaching. That'll be brilliant. I'll be happy, you know, to get involved. If there's any sort of media, broadcasting sort of, you know, opportunities in India, that is, you know, that's where I think everybody, you know, wants to go. They want to go to India, you know, and it's the place to be. It's you know, it's like a musician, you know, who's an English musician. You've only really made it big time is if you make it big in America. And same thing with cricket, you know, once you work in India at whatever capacity, then you know you really have kind of made it, and everybody wants to go to India. So that is my goal, that, you know, hopefully in India, coaching, media, broadcasting, you know, capacity that I'm able to, you know, get into sort of, you know, media broadcasting. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
So there is one more question, and it's from Anuj Malhotra. He says, learning the art of spin in India and being one of the pillars of the 2011 and 2012 win against India in India. What was your emotions like?
I think when you play, the greater the team for me, right, the less emotional I had to be, because I couldn't afford to get, once you get the wicket, then you release the emotion, but you're very much in the state of, the logical state. You're like, right, what's the pitch doing? Okay, he's here. He's only another batsman. I know he's great, but we've got to take the importance out. But then sometimes when Sachin Tendulkar plays his amazing shots, you can't stop thinking, wow, how amazing is that? You're like in awe of it. And then you're like, you get your mind to like, think, no, just go back to bowling. You're competing against him, not here to celebrate. You're competing. And that sometimes can be a difficult thing. You get starstruck and you got to like get yourself into the zone. And sometimes it's your teammates around you. They'll say, come on, Monty, you have to compete. You've got to get him out. We're here to compete. And then you've got to get into that zone as well. So look, it's, when you're playing against each other, yeah, you're there to compete against each other. And it's not just, the Sachin Tendulkar show when we just give him half volleys and we just sit there and admire him. It's like, compete against him. Come on, get him out, and he would have more respect for you that, yeah, he tested me and he got me out. And that's what cricket's about. Cricket's about, it's like a boxing match, you're in the ring. You're not going to take the punches. You're going to punch back. You have to. Right. That's what sport. That's where the real respect of a man against man is. So after they're like, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that great match. And then you have mutual respect for each other.
So on this note of admiration and mutual respect, I'm going to say a huge, big thank you to you for being on the show and spending this morning with us. I'm going to end with this one comment that we've received. It says that have seen him bowl at the Wankhede on 4th day pitch, which had crumbled. He was moving the ball by more than 2 feet. Classic. India lost that test match by an innings due to him. And I think it's such an amazing way for me to put this show, put you into this little comment to sort of even speak of the greatness of you as a finger spinner and you as a cricketer that you are. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. We really look forward to your book. And yes, hashtag Monty for Mayor. I really wish we could bring that on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show. And thank you for everyone tuning in. And I hope, it was helpful for everyone.
Thank you. And thank you everyone else for watching, interacting with us at Go Beyond Sports. Do continue to log in, like, and subscribe to Go Beyond Sports across all platforms. We have Monty Panesar with us live every evening at 11:45 for a post-match analysis of the ongoing IPL. And that's the time when you also get a chance to be with him, share screen, talk to him, interact, and really share your opinion and views about the match. So log in, tune in, do subscribe to Go Beyond Sports and receive your notifications for the same. So thank you and see you once again, and see you tonight, Monty. Thank you so much for being with us.
See you later. Thanks.
Thank you.